Welcome everybody, Red Arrow 23 here. Today we're going to be adding another video to the Boom Beach Playbook. Today we're going to be looking at Manticore AZ from 8 o'clock. Let's boom these beaches! So here we go, we got PA. He's going to be showing us AZ. So let's have a look. Do it one time all the way through. So he's clearing out some mines. And then we got the flare landing. Going to speed up just until we get a little bit closer. And then you can see that flare point up there and the timing of that brick in the back with the additional smoke. So there we go. Moving on up. I am going to pull this apart a little bit later, but this is the time to count all your smokes, see how long it's going to take you to walk there, all those sorts of things. Count your GBE. It's probably the main thing really. And look at the Powder Addict putting on a show for us. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Great hit from PA. Ripping, I think, about 1.8 mil on this one. So great hit from the Powder Addict with the medkit, just to slap Don in the face a little bit. So let's have another look with a little bit more detail or a little bit more attention. So first things first, we've got level 22 mines around the place. So it looks like this mine here is going to be the only one that we're planning on walking over. On the path, and one on the just behind the building health statue. So we're going to pop both of those. Pop. This one does have just under 2 mil on the core, and you can do a flare landing from left to right or right to left, whichever you're more comfortable with. PA's decided to go with the right to left. That's fine. There's no reason you couldn't have gone left to right as well this one. Sometimes you are limited depending on if the beach is hot, if there's a rocket launcher around, something like that. You might have to use boat heavies to distract, or you might only be able to land a particular way. So he's got the Zookas all in a nice tight group. The flare landing has to be really on point for this attack because we're going to be doing a very long flare. And as we can see, that flare is right up on this wall. So make sure you know which wall. You don't want to be dropping it on this corner or on the other side of the corner. It's definitely this one just above the mortars here, and that's going to give us a beautiful line all the way through. And you want your Zookas to be in this position. If they're any further right, then they're going to split a little bit, and if they're any further left, the same. So the timing of that flare is obviously at the back of the map, so you're going to have to throw it at the perfect time so it lands when your Zookas are in position. PA has made this attack his attack, so take a lot of practice. Make sure you give it a go though. Don't be afraid. And if you stack your boats from right to left, there will be enough room for brick to be launched behind. If you're coming from left to right, just make sure you give yourself enough room for brick to jump in. So there we go. We flared up, and the Zookas are starting on their way. We're going to use the smoke. We can get the smokes around these boom cannons, not a problem. And there is the sort of visual gap between Zookas and brick that's going to work for us perfectly. You can see, you can either use time or you can use the visual space that it's going to take. Go back to the first, we can watch it again in a little bit and you can see the timing of it. And the smoke timing is also going to be perfect, because if brick is left exposed, then boom cannon is just going to pick her off and you're not going to have brick anymore. But that's all good. They're moving up, and brick hasn't gone. We can gap the smoke a little bit up to shock launcher range. So I would probably do that smoke a little bit closer, but PA knows that they're going to go directly between these two sniper towers, so he can afford to smoke like that, and that's all good. Brick's going to do the same, I believe, and she jumps in there. So that's when they form into a perfect straight line. So yes, this mine here to the right of our path is a level 22 mine. If we touch that, all of our Zookas are going to go poof, disappear. So You don't want to forget to reflare, because if you do, they'll spread and they'll pop it. But if you keep that nice straight line, that's going to work out well. The reflare is on its way. So when you're going through the boom cannons, that's apparently the way, the time that you need to throw that back flare. You sort of have a little bit of buffer there, but you don't want to get too far ahead. As I said, they'll spread. If you get that flare out nice and early, sort of anywhere between these sniper towers and just after these boom cannons is probably perfect, because that's not going to run out. So there we go. Flares landed. We're going to keep on moving up. And look at those smokes. These smokes are awesome. You definitely want to be taking note of which defenses the Zookas are walking through right now. So they walk through those two shock launchers and then the two cannons. And then we want to be flaring. You want to throw your last two smokes as close to the same time as possible. And you see that Brick hasn't got ahead of the pack because of that perfect timing. So you throw those last two smokes, flare by the building health statue, and we just want to get our Zookas right up in there. Once they sort of get to the area, we can flare onto the core. We did pop that mine, but that was in the plan. Everything from now is going to happen crazy quick, so keep that in mind. You're going to go smoke, smoke, flare, battle orders, because she's not going to peek out of the smoke in theory. And then you're going to be immediately into throwing critters. Like, I can see that he's already done his taps for the critters. So you can either go with 3 critters, 4 shocks, or you can go 2 critters and then a re-critter. So PA's gone for, I believe, 2 critters. So you see the critters coming in now. And then your shock points are going to be this cannon right here, which is going to shock the flamethrowers, the cannon, and shock launcher down low. Then you're going to shock the left cannon up here, or start with the left, depending on wherever you feel comfortable, but work your way in or out, however you want to do it. So that cannon, and then this cannon here. So you already got these 2 flamethrowers, these shock launchers in the first one. This cannon, you're going to get the flamethrower and the 3 shock launchers. And then you want to do the crack between these 2 cannons. If you do all of those shock points, you'll get everything. You'll get everything. You don't want to miss any flamethrowers because they're just going to wipe out your Zookas real quick. You don't want to miss any shock launchers because of the same thing. Your critters are going to protect you from all of the rocket launcher fire. All of it. For a particular amount of time. Once the rocket launchers have fired into the critters, they're going to have to reload. And you'll see that as soon as those first critters, as soon as he's finished shocking, he's already thrown that second lot of critters. So now the rocket launchers have stopped firing and they've got a full 5 seconds to reload, and now the shocks are already out because they took about 5 seconds to fire, 5 seconds to reload, and now or use the delay. The delay is crucial. If you can keep the delay, there's a whole bunch more damage that you're going to be able to do. That's like 2 full salvos, probably just more than 2 now that we've got battle orders. So it's a whole bunch more damage. And now that we're coming out of the shocks, we can't really do too much. We've used up all our GBE, so we can just throw a medkit on just to annoy the turtle, the big boss man. So great hit from PA. Let's have one more look all the way through. So first things first, we want to get rid of the 2 mines that are going to cause us a hassle. We can obviously tank one of these level 20 mines by the core, but we can't tank both, so we're going to have to get rid of one. That flare all the way up to the top after the flare landing, so the Zookas are in a perfect line, and then we can start smoking, and Brick's going to be in there at an appropriate gap. Zookas are going to split that, go in between that sniper tower and form one perfect line, re-flare up the top, and then we want to go double smoke, re-flare over, and then flare the core, and then critter, shock, critter. And critter, that last critter is usually put directly onto the core, or just sort of biased to the far side. And the reason we do that is so all of those critters are spread out, so they have to use multiple rockets. They can't, if you put them all in one spot, then they're going to get splashed a lot more. Whereas right now, they're a bit spread out, so we're going to have to hit each one individually. And there we go. You are going to lose a few Zookas on those shots, but that's all good, because by the time they do that, they've done 1.8 million damage apparently. So just remember, all of those last steps are going to be really quick. And it's a really tough hit. Definitely need to practice it a lot if you can. Your team will be a lot better off for it. Be sure to give us a comment down below if you do this particular attack any differently. If you think any other technique against this sort of Manticore is better. It is a very great attack. The Scorcher Zuka might have been a good tactic on this one as well, but PA loves the all Zuka. So be sure to comment down below all of those things. Give us a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe for more Boom Beach.